Started with the story of a high school senior who lives in Mount Bellevue, Texas, and is desperate to get back to school after missing several days of class over a dress code dispute. 18-year-old DeAndre Arnold has been a student at Barbers Hill ISD his entire life and has been growing out his dreadlocks since about 10 years old. And for years, the Sanders family had no issues. But for some reason, back in December, DeAndre was told, get rid of the dreads or spend the rest of the year in school suspension, which would be DeAndre can't walk the graduation stage with the rest of his class. Joining me now to discuss this is DeAndre and his parents, Sandy and David. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. So your hairstyle is nothing new.
Nothing new at all. I've had it since 7th grade. We started growing the 7th grade summer, and from there we've just been growing.
And so what happened? Who approached you and said you had to cut your hair?
So we had several meetings with the superintendent and the school board, and basically they fenced us in until our last option was to cut the hair. Mm-hmm. And that's what they have us right now.
All right. Mom, when you were told you had to cut your son's hair, mm-hmm. who specifically told you you had to cut the hair and why?
Well, I was told by the principal.
At which school?
High school.
The name of the high school?
Barbers Hill High School. I was told by the principal, in which I understand the principal, has a job to do, and he has to enforce what the school board has put in place. Mm-hmm. And so and the superintendent, which is Greg Poole, and so I have done everything possible to try to, appease them.
What did they specifically tell you?
Okay, what they told us was nothing at first. And then a few months went by, and they said, DeAndre, hair can't touch the collar, ears, or in the face. And so from that point on, and it never really did, but I don't know where all that came from. So, because he's always had it up. He's always worn it up in some type of cornrows or something. And so then we were called into the office right before winter break, before the Christmas break, and was told basically DeAndre has to be in dress code when he comes back to school, or he would have to go to in-school suspension. And what they mean by dress code is his hair can't touch the collar or ears or eyes. And what the question that I ask is, but it never has, it's always up. So then what I was told was, well, when it's unencumbered, if it touches the collar, ears, and the eyes, then that's a violation. They say that you cannot go around the dress code by putting it up and that sort of thing. So we're at a standstill. So basically, everything that I've tried to do, I tried to work with them. I've tried to get on the school board, on the agenda, and talk with them. So the only thing left to do is to cut his hair, which, is a part of his heritage, culture. His dad is a Trinidadian. That's who he is. How can I put him in a barber chair and just say, okay, DeAndre, in order for you to graduate, I need to cut your hair?
Now, let me ask you this. You had a conversation with someone with the Barbers Hill School District, mm-hmm. and when you told them you wanted to meet with officials there about your son's hair, they told you something else related to another family.
Okay, so after I met with the principal Kanya, and Mr. Kanya, he has tried his best, I have to say, tried his best to work with the family, DeAndre and myself and my husband. He has. However, again, he has to enforce what's been told. So after we met with Principal Kanya. I called over to Superintendent Poole's office and requested a meeting with him to discuss, DeAndre's hair, because at that time...
We got to get to it. Get to it. What did he tell you?
He told me, Mandy Malone answered and said that, Greg Poole refused to meet with me because he was already dealing with an Indian family for over a year, and the dress code is the dress code. So I said, are you telling me that Dr. Poole is refusing to meet with me? And she said, yes, I am. I said, okay.
All right, let's bring Dad into this conversation. For your son to go through this, and this is part of your heritage, not just something he's doing, how does that leave you feeling as a father?
Well, since we're on Isaiah Factor Uncensored, it really pisses me off because all my son wants to do is just graduate. And all these kids that he's been going to school with ever since elementary on up, and he doesn't smoke dope, he doesn't drink, he doesn't give them any problems whatsoever. He's an A student. All he wants to do is go to school and graduate. He has 3 months to graduate, and they keep jacking with him.
And I want to let the viewers know we reached out to these lazy...
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the parents of DeAndre Arnold. You know, for those of you who don't know the incident that happened, you know, DeAndre Arnold was supposed to graduate in, 3 months or so. Now, the school board of Barber Hills High School, the principal, you heard the mother of DeAndre Arnold, the principal told them that there's a dress code, that DeAndre, cannot wear his dreadlocks on one of his dreadlocks near on his back of his neck, in other words. So, so the principal trying to be fair in this situation, but he's trying to follow what the superintendent told him, the principal. So it went through the school board, and I was going to play the school board on another news clip, and unfortunately I have problems with the video. But the point I'm making is, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're targeting our kids once again. They're targeting our children with dreadlocks, with cornrows, anything that with our heritage, anything that with our lifestyle. They're trying to targeting our children. Remember, I believe, I don't know if it's last year or a year before last, a brother who's a high school wrestler on a wrestling team. Remember, he could not even perform a wrestling match unless they cut his hair, which they did. They cut his hair before they even wanted him to wrestle. Then you have another incident with and this is a child. I believe he was like no later than like 7 or 8. They refused to even go into his school. He had to, the parents of this child had to change schools because of his quote unquote dress code of his dreadlocks. Another incident, they couldn't even, basically they've been banning one student or expel another student for his dreadlocks. And then a female can't even go to a dance because they said that the hair is not appropriate. See, ladies and gentlemen, they're targeting our kids with our hairstyles, with everything, right? And now DeAndre, just like the parents said, he don't smoke, he don't drink, he don't always a troublemaker. He's a straight A student, and all he wants to do is graduate. And I believe he's trying to go to college as well. But my point is that these states and these policies are targeting only black kids. And you notice that they're not talking about the white kids with their hairstyles. They're not targeting white kids with mohawks or white kids with a little twist in their heads. Oh no, they're not going to say nothing to them, but they're always focusing on blacks and our hairstyles. See, one thing about it, you can go and go basically attacking an adult for this. But why are you trying to mess with the kids? The kids can't help themselves with their hairstyles. And guess what? In my opinion, DeAndre got a nice hairstyle with his, dreads and whatever. I don't see any problem with it. But when you have a white school board, predominantly white school board, telling them, well, this hair ain't appropriate, what do you expect? See, this is why I say, ladies and gentlemen, that it's going to come a time that we got to take these people to court. And because this hair discrimination has to end. And you know, in the state of Texas, I heard that they may try to have a law try to ban discrimination against a person's hair. But the thing of it is, ladies and gentlemen, that it is targeting our kids nationwide with our hairstyles, and this has to stop. This definitely has to stop. So leave a comment, tell me what you think, like, click, subscribe, and remember to click the notification bell for all the news and commentary. With that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.